Welcome to Here, the podcast where you get a VIP behind-the-scenes look at the broad collective of music venues and festivals that make Buffalo the music destination it is. I'm your host, Bentley. One of the most celebrated festivals in the Buffalo music scene was started by none other than Robby Takac from the Goo Goo Dolls. As a native to the Queen City, his vision was to expose the eclectic and underground, but vibrant music that was happening right around his own studios in Buffalo. After more than 20 years of success, Music is Art has grown in size and scope, so we'll start today's episode with the founder himself. Robby, I'm so honored to be here with you to talk about Music is Art.
Great to be here.
The 22nd year.
Yeah.
And you're a busy guy anyways because you're out on tour with the Goo Goo Dolls. And now you're fitting in throwing a huge festival here at Buffalo Outer Harbor, Terminal B.
Yeah, it's worked its way into my life.
Let's go back to the beginning when you started this festival. What was your vision for the festival?
I had a little studio, still do, down in Allentown, and the Allentown Art Festival was in town, and my vision was just to have my friends play for a bunch of people who were in town that weekend.
Yeah.
I thought it was a waste
that
the underground art scene and the music scene didn't get to show their stuff to, the 100,000 people that were in my neighborhood that day. So that was sort of the catalyst. Through that whole thing, we discovered that you could kind of activate the music and art community here to do some cool things. So that's what Music is Art was born of.
And you've been at different venues. You've been at the AKG, you've been at Riverworks, now you're at Buffalo Outer Harbor. How has the evolution of the festival caused you to have to get to bigger and bigger venues?
Well, it started in my parking lot.
Yeah.
with one stage outside and one stage that you watch through the window inside. But, through the help of the Albright Knox early on, they really came and, added some legitimacy to what we did and allowed us to move into their grounds, and that was really exciting. And it got bigger, and once again, we noticed the more people you brought together to celebrate, creativity in the arts here, in our community, people were excited about it. And so, now we're 22 years later looking for acreage instead of just a parking lot.
At this point, how many bands are on the festival?
Performers, like bands and solo performers and such, probably over 250 probably. Yeah.
What do you do? Get your phone out each year and call all your friends? How does this come together?
No, we take submissions from bands. We're always looking for original groups. So most of the groups that come here to play, are playing their own music and writing their own songs. I have a bunch of friends and amazing group of volunteers that have been helping with Music is Art for years and years and years, and we just get together every year and we figure out what's going to make it great this year.
You are obviously one of the biggest success stories coming out of this area and coming out of Buffalo in music. Why is it important for you to then encourage maybe the next person coming out of the area?
Well, I love this place. I live here. My kid lives here.
Yeah.
My wife lives here. My dad lives here. I love this community, and I would say it's largely inertia, really, that sort of drives this thing. If there's no desire for it anymore, it will stop. Right now it seems like it's something that people get excited about every year, so I get excited about it too.
And being from this area, and obviously you talked about the music scene and the bands that you knew, it has become a music destination. How would you describe it to people outside the area?
The city? It's funny, the city's never really gotten to be known for one type of music.
Yeah.
That's what I think the brilliance of this music scene is here. There's an awful lot of pockets, and there's an awful lot of nooks and crannies that you can come in and discover. People aren't coming here looking for the next, drum and bass comes from Buffalo, so that's what we're here for, or whatever, it's just a lot of talented people. And, this is a town full of people who like to work hard, who don't mind working hard. And, you got to shovel yourself out every morning for half the year, before you can get to work. People don't mind that. So, they work hard at what they do, and they do some really great things.
Yeah. And you mentioned the mix of music. Can you talk about the mix of genres that performance music is art.
Yeah, musically, I mean, everything from country to classical to hardcore to EDM and folk music, singer-songwriter stuff, all sorts of stuff. If there's something that is not necessarily striking you at that moment, really all you got to do is take 9 steps in any direction, and you'll be in front of another stage and, find something that you do like, Artistically, outside of the music element, there's so many different things here too, circus arts and wrestlers, painters, sculptors, performance artists, actors, DJs, so many different disciplines. And, I always say it's amazing. When I was a kid, I would go to Allentown with my parents and I would see hippies, and I had never seen anything like that before. I was like, wow. I sort of knew it existed, but like I never stood next to it, like that's what I hope this does for young people. Like, young people have a chance to know about a lot of things, but they don't get a chance to stand next to it always, And this really does give you an opportunity to experience an awful lot of different things and, just, I don't know, you can decide if you like it then, don't decide before you can actually experience it, I think.
It seems a very immersive experience, and even, you were mentioning all those things, and then there's a skate park, and then there's going to be roller derby, the roller
wrestling.
Girls, and wrestling, but I love this spot for this, the way you've explained to me how it will be mapped out, and for people that maybe were in the silos at Riverworks, that art is still going to be here, right?
Yeah,
it's going to be all along the edges.
Silos have moved into nature, man. There's an amazing walk along the river here, which we've given to our friends. They're calling it a Refringe World.
Yeah.
And they're going to be over there with a stage and a bunch of really cool stuff. Also, the Blossom Gang will be over there as well, and they're going to have a bunch of kind of jam-based stuff and cool vendors and stuff. So, and that goes all the way, it goes all night. So,
that's great.
As always, things get stranger as the night goes on.
Is it 11 to 11?
11 to 11.
11. That's great because I can remember that. So you have the all-day experience, you have the music, you have this immersive experience, you have stuff for kids, for adults, and one thing that you've mentioned is that everybody comes together that day.
Yeah. I mean, this world is divided in a lot of ways right now. And that stinks. But the things that happen here are things that don't necessarily have to involve all that divisiveness. And I think at some point to fix things, you have to realize that humans are humans, and there are things that make us similar to each other, and those are the things that we should celebrate this day when you come here. When you leave, it's up to you, how you proceed with your life. But when you come here, this is a feeling of community we want to have here.
And it's free. This festival is free to the public.
Yeah, it's free.
That's amazing.
Yeah, lots of great sponsors that help out.
Yeah.
That's maybe the most important component of this to me, quite honestly, is that people are able to come here no matter what.
Yeah.
And you know what? If you leave disappointed, then I guess you haven't paid anything. And if you showed up and had the best time of your life, then you know what? You got to do that without having to buy a ticket, and that's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I feel like so many of the people that are here are involved in displaying or helping us put the event on.
Yeah.
So for me, for them to be able to bring their friends and family and celebrate here, it's a winner.
And there is a VIP experience that you can purchase, and then there's also a couple of special performances. You want to talk about those that are going to go up for auction, right?
Absolutely. Behind us here, we have a VIP tent, and we'll have food and drink in there all day, and we have a little black box theater that only holds about 25, 30 people, and we'll be doing some special performances back there that we'll be auctioning off in the tent. Chris Trapper from the Push Stars, and Linda Appleby, and myself, and Elliot Hunt from Letter to Elise. And so we'll be doing some stuff there. It also comes with VIP parking and some other perks too. So if you go to musicisart.org, you can check out the VIP experience.
So if you do come here and you spend your money and you support music as art, what are some of the things that goes to? Obviously, to keep this festival going.
Yeah, well, the festival itself, I mean, this is an enormous undertaking,
Yeah.
especially down here. There's no infrastructure down
Yeah.
here. You know, there's no electricity, so we have to bring in electricity.
Yeah.
There's no lighting. We have to bring in all the lighting.
Yeah.
So Music is Art runs all year.
Yes.
You know, we do all sorts of stuff throughout the year. We do jazz concerts, and we have an organization called the Alliance that helps out a lot of the performers here in town. And we have a musical instrument donation program that we've been running for 20 years, put over $500,000 worth of instruments in the schools and the community over the years. So we do an awful lot of things throughout the year. So if you'd like to help support, or anybody out there would like to help support, you know, check out musicisart.org and you can figure out how to do that.
It is all part of a bigger picture of community and art and music and bringing that all together here.
Absolutely.
So as a performer, how would you explain the audiences or the music scene in Buffalo in general, and how do you explain the vibe of the audience here at Music is Art from the performer standpoint?
From the performer standpoint, you know, it's chaos here, man.
Yeah.
You know, it's crazy. You know, you show up and it's, there's short sets and there's all these people just meeting. There's so many bands here and so many artists here and just so many supporters of the arts and fans of music. It's just a fertile ground, you know, for a good vibe.
What excites you 22 years in now at this stage in your musical career and music? What excites you now about music?
Sunday morning? No, man. No, just the fact that it happens, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, this is a special thing, man.
Yeah.
I've been all over the place, man. This doesn't happen everywhere.
Yeah.
You know, it's a pretty amazing day, you know, to celebrate, a pretty amazing musical and creative community.
And live music is alive and thriving.
Yeah, it seems to be. You know, through COVID, it was weird.
Yeah.
You know, like for the first time in my life, I didn't do a show. For many people, for the first times in their lives, they didn't do a show for a year. You know, there has been a reset. You know, you can feel it's different. But I think one thing that people did realize is being in a room with a person playing a guitar and singing you a song is something that you can't experience any other way than that. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Robby. I look forward to talking to you every year about the festival, and I'm really excited for this year to see how this turns out, because this is an awesome space as we're sitting here.
Man, I am so with you. I can't wait to see either.
You can't wait to see either.
I'm super excited.
All right, thanks, Robby. We'll be talking to you again.
Awesome, thanks.
Robby's focus on vibe and connecting through music made me think of the band Farrow, who has performed at Music is Art for years. I sat down with Mike Farrow, lead singer and mastermind behind the group. Mike, I'm so excited to talk to you today. I'm always excited to talk to you. You're in the band Farrow, big fan. You're performing at Music is Art, and you have performed before.
Yes. I performed, I don't know how many years now, like 5, I think?
Yeah.
Maybe 5 or 6 years. This will be my 6th, yeah.
This will be your 6th. And when you first performed, you also had an audience experience with your performance. So you've been a performer and you've also been an audience member at Music is Art. So
as an audience member, the first time I ever went, I didn't even cross over the water. I stayed on the... It was at Riverworks, and I stayed on one side of it, and I didn't even know there was another side to the entire festival. The next year, I realized how big it actually was. And so as an audience member, I think you can expect to see a lot, and you might miss things because there's just so many things going on.
So as a performer, what is the experience like?
The experience at Music is Art as a performer is you get to interact with lots of different people. You get to meet new performers that you didn't know existed because there are so many musicians, and the scene is a little bit divided, but the one time of year that we can all kind of get together is Music is Art.
You've met people, you've discovered new bands yourself or new artists?
Oh, I've discovered so many new artists. I judged the Battle of the Bands last year, and the young people blew me away. One of them went viral from their performances and stuff. It's wild. So you never know who you're going to meet and who's going to perform.
And what is, from the performer's standpoint on stage, what is the vibe like?
It is wild. So 2 years ago, we had the foam that was being shot at our stage, and the kids were just going in circles, going crazy while we performed. I'm like, we need to have foam for every one of our shows. So there's things like that happen.
Yeah.
And the audience is there to have a good time and listen to music, and so it's family friendly, and everyone's having a good time.
So you are the front person for Farrow.
Correct.
Explain the definition, the meaning, the mission of Farrow.
Well, Farrow believes that joy is revolutionary. It's always a revolutionary act to be joyful in a world that wants to bring you down. And there's so many things that want to bring us down. So as a band, we try to exemplify that by being joyful and wearing joyful colors.
I love it.
And just, showing that we can find connection with one another, because that's really where joy is. Joy isn't being happy. It's really found in connection.
How do you feel that fits in at Music is Art?
Oh, it's exactly the same kind of thing. It's a place where we're going to take the worries of our day, we're going to put them on the side for just one day and have some fun and listen to music and make some weird art.
I love it. So you're obviously a performer at the festival, but you're involved in other ways too with Music is Art.
Yes, I'm a board member of Music is Art. I also am an Alliance member. Being a part of the Alliance is a lot of work. It allows for different people to find their own little artist community. So like there's a songwriting groups, we have different sessions where people can come together and talk about some of the issues of being an artist. Mm-hmm. One of the sessions I ran was about vocal performance. So it's a lot about artists helping artists and musicians helping musicians.
This festival does really seem like a community event and a community in itself. Music is Art as a community. How can you explain the Buffalo music scene as a community?
Buffalo music scene as a community has pockets. So there's little pockets of this. There's the little jazz pocket, and there's the Latin pocket, and there's the singer-songwriter pocket, and there's the hard rock pocket. Like there's all these tiny little pockets of beautiful, excellent, world-class music, but there's not a lot of connection between them. I try to sneak into a few of them, but Music is Art is the one place I know that it really comes all together.
And why is it important for you as a performer and as a musician in Buffalo to be part of these things in Buffalo that encourage the music scene?
I think that Buffalo is a music city. It should be a destination city for music. I think that if I didn't know that, but I didn't know that.
Yeah.
When I first moved here, I was like, okay, I'll try to make some music. Had no idea the caliber of musicianship and the quality of performance that you would get at these shows. And so it's been exciting, and I love it.
What would you say to somebody coming from outside the area that might want to check out Buffalo as a music destination? How would you explain?
I would give you venues. I would say, okay, you got to go here. Like there's so many various venues. Pausa. I would be like, you have to go to a jazz thing at Pausa.
Yeah.
Like you have to catch something at. You have to catch something weird at Milky's. like you have to catch something odd at the Mothership. Like there's different little places that are like quirky, and then there's stuff that is just classic. And there's the theater district where you can get like just classic theater stuff. The Irish classic theater. There's just so much stuff going on in this city that is wonderful to visit.
Well, Music is Art is bringing a lot of worlds together in the Buffalo music scene. I look forward to seeing you perform again, and I have a feeling we're going to be talking to you again about Music is Art in the future. Thanks for talking to us.
Yeah, no problem.
Mike talked a lot about the bond created between musicians and the audience members at Music is Art. While he's seen it from both sides, Linda Appleby was someone Robby knew could give us great perspective. As a music educator and a fan, she's attended Music is Art almost since the beginning. Linda, I'm so excited to talk to you today as a fan of Music is Art, but also as a person in the community, in the music community. Who are some of the artists that you can remember discovering at Music is Art? Or
that's a great question.
Or are there moments that you can remember seeing different acts and saying, wow, this is a really great festival?
Well, when the For Realist performed with Rocco and Neve. With my daughter, they were one of the closing acts at the time, and it was pouring rain. And they were like such a hot commodity at the time. And I want to say that was a good 10 years ago. And people were still around. They didn't care. They're going to hear that group play because at the time Jeff Myers had said this is the newest it group. So of course, being my daughter, I had to be a part of that. And then Michael Delano, who I just love. I was on the judging committee when he was acknowledged as one of the leading and winners of the new young artists that come out. And I think he was 17 years of age.
Wow.
And now Danielle Johnson, another former student who is formerly of Michael Farrow, and his band is now on her own with DNA. But I love Michael Farrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we talked to him during this. He's one of our favorites.
Oh,
too.
gosh.
How many times have you been to Music is Art?
Oh, my gosh. Well, this is the 22nd year, so I probably have been here for 20 years.
Wow.
A fan because, we all love Robby. And, when it first started, I believe it was a part of the Elmwood Arts Festival, and where the studio was GCR, I went to the Elmwood Arts Festival and naturally to that because it was right there. And then when it moved over to the art gallery, AKG, before it was the AKG as we know it now, of course went there. Again, I had so many students, and my daughter was a part of it. Actually 12 years ago she was a part of it with Walter Kemp and Vinnie DeRosa, and it was just a wonderful thing to go to. Because it's more than just music.
Yes.
The artists, with Chuck Tingley and Rob Dalgiano and the dancers, and even when it was over there at Silo City, there was even wrestling that was going on. So there's a little bit of everything for everybody.
So you were hooked.
Yes.
Right away. Yes.
Yes, and I love how Robby gives back to the community and highlights so many upcoming new artists that are consistently and continually changing over from year to year to year.
So you mentioned students.
Yes.
You are a music educator for how long now?
This is my 50th year.
Yes.
My 50th year.
And you got your start in the Buffalo City schools.
I absolutely did.
And then you went on to you currently teach at Villa Maria
Yes.
College.
Yes, I do. You still need to impose upon them the value that they have and that they can share with others, and the importance of music to get them from point A to point B.
And you mentioned your daughter
Yes.
is a performer.
She's on tour with Janelle Monáe. She was on tour with Lizzo for 3 years, and in between working with Adam Lambert and a bunch of artists, Brent Faiyaz,
Impressive
Yuna,
lineup.
Cynthia Erivo, who I love.
Well, one thing that Michael Farrow talked about is the people that you meet and the other musicians that you're exposed to and that you meet at Music is Art. And it sounds like there is a lot of opportunities for exposure and to learn about music.
Oh, absolutely. It's a wonderful place to hang out and to make those connections, as you said. It's a very wonderful opportunity for people to come together and to work and just commune with everybody that is in the same frame of mind.
Yeah. And, Robby did mention that as well, that it's a day where everybody comes together.
Yes.
You leave your differences at the gate and you
Absolutely.
come and enjoy music together.
Absolutely. I mean, music is a connective tissue, is it not? Art is something that's so needed.
Why do you think it's important that this festival has been around for as long as it has, but that it continues?
Why is it important?
Yeah.
I think it's important to keep tradition alive. It keeps the arts alive, but it's just nice to see that circle of life that continues to go on and on and on.
So Buffalo is a music destination. There's a lot of great music that happens in Buffalo. How would you
Absolutely.
explain the music scene here to somebody that might be interested in traveling here for this festival or other things going on in Buffalo?
It's very eclectic. It's very invigorating. All sorts of genres, from jazz to hip hop. There's a huge underground culture in hip hop and rap. Talk to any of my young students at Villa and they will tell you there's gospel, which is just beautifully hugged onto here in the community with so many phenomenal artists that are associated with that genre and that way of praising. There is of course, our beloved Buffalo Philharmonic Orchestra. So you have the classical component. You have Henri Mohammed, who is another former student that has his Mohammed School of Music. So there's all sorts of music that is here in this community, and nobody should sleep on Buffalo. People are constantly coming in to Buffalo, and I told my daughter, I said, you need to come back home, girl, because what is going on here is a renaissance beyond understanding in terms of the magnificence of the music, culture, theater, dance, all of it.
You provide such a great perspective because you are so embedded into the community.
Yes.
And music teaching, but then also as a fan.
Yes.
So, as a fan of the festival,
Yes.
how would you explain the vibe?
It's very welcoming. You could be whoever you want to be. You can come dressed however you want to come dressed as without anybody looking at you in any sort of a strange way. Oh my gosh, well, look at that person. No, it's like, as a fan, it's just refreshing to see all of the wonderful ways that people come together to express themselves.
I have enjoyed talking to you so much. I think that
thank you.
we're going to be talking to you a lot more.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Because this podcast series focuses on music in this area, and I
Yes.
think you're a great resource. So thank you for taking time to talk to
Oh,
us.
I'm so honored, and thank you so much for asking me. I feel so honored. Thank you.
And we'll see you at Music is Art.
Okay.
That wraps up this episode of Here Here. Be sure to check out more episodes on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts. Buffalo is a unique music destination, and we uncover it all on Here Here. This program is produced by Buffalo Toronto Public Media for Visit Buffalo Niagara.